Hello, this is a Jay Leshark and Friends
And Russell.
and Russell podcast. And on today's show, we're talking to the real-life Indiana Jones, Simon Thomas. Originally from the UK, Simon's journey to Phuket started with a very interesting yacht delivery and then just gets better and better and better. From gun runner, allegedly, to plant-based restaurant owner, this podcast is why we love doing this podcast. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Squeak.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Simon Thomas, vegan table. The vegan table.
The vegan table in
How are
Phuket
you?
town. Very good. I've got my matcha latte here.
Just, we have all come in here and ordered a variety of different
Colourful drinks, I
very
must
colourful
say.
drinks. Your matcha latte, which I was assuming was going to be not that. What's your matcha latte?
Well, matcha latte is basically a combination of plant-based milk and matcha green tea from Japan.
So it's tea, not a coffee.
Not really, no. Latte, hence, it's just a kind
What
of
we do
hot
with the
milk, and then we just froth it up and make
Yeah.
it like a latte. So,
Say vegan milk.
plant-based.
What's plant-based milk?
So plant-based milk is
Milk that comes from a
milks
plant.
made from plants. Would you know it? So you've got a variety, and what we serve here in my restaurant is we have soy milk, we have coconut milk, we have pistachio milk, and we have rice bran milk, and we also have almond milk. So you can choose one of 5 different types of plant-based milks for your
I have
coffee.
almond milk at home.
I was going to say, I have
Ah.
almond milk as well.
Almond milk's really good on cereals. It's got a nice sweetness
Yeah, that's
to it.
actually, yeah, and it's creamy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I quite like
one
that.
of my favourites.
That's what I go for.
Simon Thomas.
You turning your phone off?
No, I'm setting a timer. How long have you been in Phuket for?
God,
Yonks.
long time. I've known you for about 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
You're pointing at Russell there.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
pointing at Russell, yeah. I came here pre-tsunami, so 2004. So that's what, 15,
Yeah.
16,
16,
17
something, yeah,
years?
something like that,
Yeah, a
Why?
long time. I came on a holiday. I was living in Bangkok at the time with the then current girlfriend, and we had a 2-week holiday down here and just fell in love with Phuket. I mean, basically, back then in 2004, there wasn't much traffic around. It was quite a nice place to live.
Yeah.
And I just liked the fact that the air was clean, there was no pollution, it just seemed like a new place to come and start off fresh. So
And how long were you in Bangkok for?
prior to that, I lived in Bangkok from 2002 until 2004, so
Okay,
2
just a couple
years.
of years.
Yeah.
So what got you to Bangkok?
Interesting story.
And that's what we're here for.
At last.
Yeah.
Okay.
57 episodes in,
Yeah.
we've got an interesting
We've got an
story.
interesting story.
Okay.
And go.
Dun dun
Go.
dun!
Dun, dun, dun.
God, this better be good.
Okay.
Really good.
Does
So-
it involve guns?
It does.
Hey!
How do you know? Have I told you the story before? No, back in the late 90s, I used to live in Israel, and I learned how to scuba dive. Yeah. And
I wasn't expecting that.
you weren't? Oh, no.
What, you was thinking muff diving or?
Israel.
True.
Could be a whole bunch of things. Yeah. Guns included.
Yeah.
But anyway, so 1998, I went out to Ibiza on a yacht. I sailed from Falmouth with a friend of mine. There was 2 of us. And we set off in September of that year.
Two lads on the yacht.
2 lads on a yacht.
Sailing to
I've
Ibiza?
I had a little bit of sailing experience, which I learnt in Israel.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, just going out
what
for
you
a
go
few
there for.
hours and then coming back. And then a friend of mine said, I've got a boat to deliver in Saint-Tropez. Would you like to join me? And I was just like, hell yeah. And can you drop me off at Ibiza on the way? Because I had some friends.
This all just totally sniffs of gun running. That's what I was looking for.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
In Israel, then went to Falmouth, met
Yeah.
some dude,
Some-
got on a boat.
Some chap that had a boat and wanted me to sail down to Ibiza. Anyway, ended up on this yacht. Didn't really have that much sailing experience. It was the middle of September, worst time to sail across the Bay of Biscay. Massive storms, big waves. We destroyed the yacht. Yeah. I mean, this was a £500,000 state-of-the-art 56-foot yacht that was being delivered for a very rich customer from Scotland. We broke the
Broke the mast?
The mast. the stay sail, everything. We literally, by the time we got to Saint-Tropez, we were under
Rowing it
engine.
in.
We were under engine with the sails lashed to the boat.
And when you say we trashed the boat,
Well, the wind,
The wind
and
and
the
the
wind and
weather
the
and stuff
weather
probably had
and
a
the
fair
waves
hand
and
on it,
everything
yeah.
else. But yeah, we nearly didn't make it, but we did. So anyway, when I got to Ibiza, a friend of mine, Marcus, who was an old friend I used to work with back in the day, he was also training to be a dive master. So we got together and we decided, oh, what a great idea, let's go to Thailand. So we went, okay. So then my friend that we sailed this yacht, he said, look, I've got a boat leaving Malta in January next year, this was 99, sailing all the way to Phuket. Would you like to join? And I was like,
I had so much fun on the last boat.
what could possibly go wrong? So me and my buddy Marcus, we flew out to Malta the middle of January in the winter. And you know what Europe's like in the winter. It's bleak and it's horrible. It's horrible. So we got to this marina in Malta, and we met up with David. This was the captain's name, and he took us down to the boat. Now the boat was a 36-foot little sailboat.
That's a
It wasn't-
day yacht.
That's not.
It's a day yacht. It isn't
Yeah.
like cross
That's
the
not-
ocean.
No.
So we got on the boat and it was packed full of junk. You know,
Drugs.
this guy's possessions. And apparently the owner was a German guy, lived in Phuket, wanted his boat sailing over there for the high season, da-di-da-di-da. So David said to us, right, we're going to have to clean out all the cabins because we've got no cabin space, and it's going to be 6 weeks for us to get to Phuket. So there we were in Malta, taking everything out of the boat, because we needed to get at least 1 or 2 cabins. So as we're taking all of the belongings out, suddenly, what do we find?
Guns.
Guns.
Shut the front door, really?
Seriously, guns were stowed in the front and the aft of in the front of the boat, underneath the bunk beds, yeah. And not just guns, but like ammunition, porno movies, pornographic material. There was it was cigarettes, contraband, and then David was like, "Ooh, this is really scary. There could be drugs, there could be anything." So, and if
So
you
we carried
sail,
on searching.
if you sail from Malta to to Phuket, you've got to go through the Straits of Hormuz, you've got to go through the Suez Canal. These are all Muslim kind of countries, and you don't want to be caught with contraband and weapons on your
Guns
boat.
are
'cause
okay,
it's-
but maybe not the porno.
How many guns? Like lots of guns.
There was a few. There was if I remember correctly, there was a revolver. There was a Magnum, like an automatic.
For those
of you watching in black and white.
Yeah. Simon's doing
We're
lots of
getting
hand
hand
motions of guns, which is brilliant. So far, all have been the same, though. Yeah. I did like the revolver, which was just a circle. Apparently, that's a revolver across.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, that was the gun. So,
I can't wait till we get to the bazooka.
So anyway, the captain's like, right, we've got to get the authorities on board because, if there's like drugs, then, we've got to get the dogs on. So basically the marine police or whatever you want to call them came down with all the sniffer dogs and everything, completely destroyed the boat, took it to pieces. And they basically said, right, this boat is being confiscated, impounded, and the owner's got to fly in and explain why he has all of this undisclosed
and
material. He would have done. But the problem was we were there stranded in the middle of nowhere in the winter in Malta. And we didn't have a penny. This was a free trip for us to get to Phuket. So back in those days, it was like a phone call to mum. Hey mum, can you like borrow me a little bit of money so we can fly to Bangkok? So we ended up taking the cheapest flight we could. I think it was a few £100 back then. And it was via Athens, India, God knows how many stops. It was a one-way ticket. And we arrived in Bangkok eventually, I think the beginning of February. That was in 1999. And the whole reason we were coming here is we were going to get jobs as diving instructors and dive masters. And that was the point of us coming here. And we arrived in Phuket in February of that year looking for work. And that's what brought me to Thailand.
That's brilliant.
So,
whatever happened to the German dude? Did you
I
ever...
don't know, never followed up really.
Huh?
I would imagine he'd have had a real big
Just
slap on
put
his
the-
wrist and pay a lot of money and, find out. But yeah,
But do you think it was his own stuff he was just bringing out?
there was 2 or 3 guns on there, yeah? And there's a lot of ammunition. Yeah, so, I don't know. Sailors say that they like to carry guns with them because, there's a lot of pirates and
Pirates,
stuff.
yeah.
So maybe sailing around Djibouti and around that area is pretty risky.
That's
so
a small boat, though, for someone who...
It's a
But what
tiny
I-
boat.
Yeah, it is.
What I've learned so far from this is that you are shit on boats.
I know.
You and boats.
I know. Don't.
If there's a boat party and you rock up, I'm getting off.
Seriously, I'm very unlucky.
So did you become a dive master?
I did. So in 99, I spent the whole of that year training and working here in Thailand and in Malaysia. So I used to work over in Koh Tao and a
nice
place
diving
called
in Malaysia.
Planet Scuba, where I spent 3-4 months over there. And then I got another job in another dive school down in the Perhentian Islands, which is on the east coast of Malaysia, near Kuala Besut. So I spent a year pretty much living an idyllic lifestyle, just waking up in the morning in my bungalow on the beach and sunrise and going out doing 2 or 3 dives a day.
Nice.
Great, yeah.
So we've talked before on my Affair podcast, and you also have an art background and a collector background.
Yeah, so
was that before?
Yeah, before all of this.
So this was before the
That's before the
diving.
guns and the
Yeah,
boats.
before the guns and the boats. This is before my Ibiza days. This is when I was a little kid. Yeah. So me and my dad used to go around like car boot sales. Yeah, remember those?
Yeah.
And we used to go to like antique fairs and auctions, and I used to buy a load of stuff and then basically go and trade it. Sell it on to other people for a profit. So from the age of 14, I kind of learnt the business myself. And then by me coming out here to Asia, I looked at something which I'd never really had much of an interest in before, which was Chinese and Asian art.
Mm-hmm.
So in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was like, look at all this stuff. I'd go to all the antique shops when I was here because that was my passion. So I'd always look for old English antiques that I could send back home and make a profit on.
Yeah.
So I'd like trawl through all the markets in Bangkok and around Malaysia, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, and just look for European stuff that I knew about. Mm-hmm. And then when I was around these shops and markets, I would see all of this Asian expensive bronze deities and vases, and I didn't know enough about it. So I started to kind of buy a few bits and try to sell them back in the UK. But what I found was when I used to go back to the UK, there was so much of this stuff over there, very cheap, that I thought, well, why don't I buy that there and bring it over here and sell it to these guys? So instead of doing it that way, originally, which is buying the English stuff and sending it back to England, I started to buy the Chinese stuff in England and bring it back here and sell it to the Chinese people. As you do. That's like selling coal to a miner or bread to a baker. But I started doing that in 2000, yeah? And then that's what kind of created my kind of position here in Thailand as a sort of long stay resident.
Do you have a whip?
Like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I've got a whip, I've got a hat, I've got the jacket.
Brilliant. That's all I want to know.
Yeah. No, he's one of my idols.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But would you do that kind of thing, joking aside, if someone said to you, can you go and find, because I'm jumping ahead here because I know this answer, I think, but if someone said, right, we're looking for something, would you scour the Asia looking for it?
I have done it. I mean, this is, as I started to work in the UK and Europe, bringing things back from there to sell over here, I learned a lot about the business, I learned a lot. And not only that, I went and studied as well. So I went back for a year in 2001 until the beginning of 2002, and I did a postgrad at the British Museum where I won a scholarship to actually study for free. And it was all about Chinese art. So I was studying within the British Museum, and it was affiliated with SOAS. So I got to meet all of the lecturers, the academics, all of the dealers, all of the people in the know, all of the, the tops of the
stuff.
The auction houses. So I had an inn where I could talk turkey with people.
How did that come about?
That's another long story.
Right, yeah. So does it involve boats and guns?
No, it involves an Israeli
Or a
girl.
woman.
A woman. There's a woman. Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it true that in the British Museum, I think you told me this last time we talked, that only a very
fraction.
small fraction of the stuff is actually up on show. The rest of it is all
Underneath
Yeah.
in catacombs,
And you got down into those catacombs.
Yeah, we used to go down there, not regularly, but we'd go down, have a little sniff around, try to put a few things in my bag as well. No, but seriously, I'd have whatever they've got upstairs, there's 3 or 4 of the same downstairs, but obviously lesser quality or maybe not as stunning as the ones they have on show. But the thing with the British Museum, as opposed to American museums, is they're not legally allowed to sell any of the objects that they actually own because they get bequeathed by people that have died or, people have passed, and then they just have to store all this stuff, and it's all down there underneath the British Museum.
So who owns it? The British Museum owns it, but they can't do anything with it.
I think it's a trust. I don't know. Is it the National Trust or something?
That must be. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be a really good robbery, wouldn't it? If you could get into the sewers in London, yeah? I kind of know exactly where.
You know where to go.
Yeah. I know where to go.
Unfortunately, now everyone knows that it's you.
Oh,
This hasn't gone out yet. We could cut this bit.
You could cut this bit, and we could talk about it later.
Can we delay it a week so we can get this done first?
If there's a reward for finding the person who robbed the British Museum, I want that.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah.
But there's been quite a few robberies in England. I think there was the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge was robbed 5 years ago by a group of Eastern European kind of bandits, if you want to call them that. And they robbed. They knew what they were doing. They went to the museum and they stole the most prized Chinese artifacts, as if they were stolen to order. So someone had gone in the museum. They were like, I like that. I like that vase up there and that jade and that bit of bronze.
How easy is it to flog that kind of stuff on the market?
Well, if it's pre-bought.
If it's pre-bought, then easily.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was to go and steal, like, let's say, a Qianlong vase from the British Museum,
Allegedly.
I mean, not that I would, you could pass it off, but there'd certainly be some questions asked.
Yeah.
You'd never be able to get the real value for it. So let's say it's worth 10 million. You'd probably get like 50,000 or something for it. You'd never get anywhere close to, because you could never sell that on again.
No,
Well,
exactly.
Once
that's it. Yeah.
That's it. They either love it just as an object to keep at home and not show anybody, because all of the things in museums are documented anyway.
That's it.
They have case files. They've got like literally rows and drawers and drawers and drawers of just pictures and where it came from, who owned it, size, measurements, defects. So it's very difficult for you to. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
What's the best thing you've ever seen?
The best thing I've ever seen, or the best thing I've ever found?
Oh, good one. Found.
The best thing I've ever found, from a financial point of view or from an artistic?
Either. Both.
Either or.
Okay, financially was a vase that I bought on eBay about 10 years ago. That was in California. There was a chap that was selling a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show you actually, I've got a picture of it on my phone. And you can
Great
see.
for podcast.
Yeah, this is real.
At least we can understand.
And
it.
you can understand what I'm talking
can
about. Otherwise, because
describe
you
it
can
in
describe
words.
it. Here we go.
I'll let you do that bit, shall I?
Yeah.
Right, so this is one thing that I bought in California back in 2009.
I'm just talking. Simon's going through his 1,500
So this is kind of like,
pictures.
in a quirky way, kind of like an Antiques Roadshow kind of thing.
It is, yeah, and a kind of
Someone's
digital
got something,
nomad.
they don't know what they've got.
Basically, yeah. And eBay is one of those places where you can actually, this is the actual picture that the guy took.
So it just looks like a blue and white vase. It's a terrible picture.
My mum's got two of those at home.
He's
Actually,
used a flash, a bad flash.
yeah. Taken out on his driveway.
So how much did he want for that?
Right, so he put that on eBay for $9.99.
Okay. And when you saw that, did you straight away go, that's
that,
something
yeah.
nice?
Yeah. Yeah, because this is what I studied, and when I was at the British Museum, to supplement my stay in London, living in London is expensive.
Yeah.
And I had a nice apartment in Surrey Quays on the river overlooking, it costs money. I need to work.
Which is why I was robbing the museum to pay for my apartment.
Well, I use my time there very well, and I would scour eBay during my study times, of course, that's what I was doing. And I would look for objects, because, okay, let's say this week we're going to be studying about Korean painting with Dr. Young Soong Pak. So then I'd be like looking through eBay at, paintings, and then I'd see something, And this is another great story. There was this chap in California who was selling a load of paintings, right? And I just finished the Korean module at the British Museum. And this painting came up, and it was a Guanyin, which is the goddess of mercy. And it was a big, long scroll. And it was on eBay, and it was, again, it was $10 or something. I was like, God, this is just what I've been studying. It's the same, it's identical. And I've got a really good eye to ascertain whether something's real or it's a fake. So I was like, it's genuine, right? Anyway. At that time, I was like, okay, I had a few friends. I said, hey guys, you want to put some money in a kitty? I've got a business idea. I think there's something we can buy, make a lot of money on. So some of my good friends said, oh yeah, I'll chuck a couple of grand in. So collectively, we got about 10 grand together. I was like, okay. So eBay came. I put a bid in, auction stealer, that one that snipes 3 seconds before it closes, so no one really can bid again.
Yeah.
So we put a bid in, 10 grand. We bought the painting for $6,000. I forget what the exchange rate was then, but it wasn't a lot, maybe 4,000 quid. So we were like, yay! Painting arrived in London in my apartment, and I went down and I spoke to Dr. Young Soon Pak, and I said, look, I've got something I'd like you to just authenticate for me, because you're obviously the creme de la creme of Korean paintings, So anyway, I had a meeting with her in her office in SOAS, and her husband is Professor Dr. Roderick Whitfield. Yeah, he's an eminent... Whitfield. He's an eminent, academic in Chinese art. I've got loads of his books in the back there. Anyway, so I'm starting to roll this scroll down, and I hear this voice in the back, oh my God! I was like, what's happened? She had a heart attack or something. She was like, it's beautiful. I was like, really? All right, okay. Kept rolling it down. She was just like, oh, she was in shock. You could just see the face was like, she'd never seen anything like this before. And where did you get this? I explained the story about this seller in California that was selling his uncle's collection of old scroll paintings. Anyway, she goes, oh, I've got to have it. I was like, what? I only want you to see if it's real or not. She goes, look, would you mind just waiting outside? I need to speak to my husband, Roderick. I was like, okay, so I stood out in the corridor, sat down. 5 minutes later, they opened the door. Come back in. I was like, well, what's up? She goes, well, look, we'll give you everything we own to have this painting. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? I only want you to say if it's real or not, so I can go and, put it in an auction or something. She goes, no, you can't let this leave. She goes, I wrote my PhD on this subject. I need this painting, me being a bit green back then and naive. I was like, well, how much are we talking about? We've got £25,000. We can pay you cash right now. I was like, hold on a second. Let me just call my friends. Right. So I literally walked down the corridor and I called, my mates up. I said, you won't believe this. That painting we just bought. Well, I'm just taking it to my professor, my teacher, and she's offered us 25 grand cash. And everyone was like, take it. So they brought me down to HSBC Bank and literally there and then handed me over £25,000 in cash.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And me being a poor student and all, that was like
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of beer money, that is. So I was just like, oh, bloody hell, this is brilliant.
So the obvious question is...
Well, what did I sell? That's the...
Yeah, well, and what was it worth?
Well, exactly. That's me being naive and green at the time. Now, knowing what I know now... Yeah, I probably sold £1 million painting for 25 grand. Yeah. And it's not the first, and it won't be the last that's happened in my life.
The thing is, it was worth 6,000 US to you. It wasn't worth $1 million, so 25 grand still good.
Yeah, I mean that was what 40,000 US, I think, at that exchange rate back then.
So this $9.99.
Right. So
US,
go back to the vase.
Yeah.
This is the most financially, the biggest winner for me, personally, from one item that I bought. So anyway, this vase, this came up, we're talking about 10 years later. So eBay's the place to find things, if you've got a really good eye.
Yeah.
So this vase came up and the guy's got it on for $9.99.
Tinder as well, if you've got a good eye. But...
Yeah, my eye's not very good at women. I always end up with the wrong ones. So anyway, the vase came up and I was like, right, that's a real winner. I was like, God. And I'm like scratching around again. And I didn't call my friends this time. I was like,
I can do this on my own.
I'm going to do it on my own. I've got
in for a penny.
Big cojones. I'm going to do it. So I was like, right, I've got 25 grand pounds in my bank. Yeah. So eBay, 25 grand. So that's a big bid. So anyway, same again. Auction stealer, £25,000. Yeah.
That's a very high bid. What was the bidding before that?
Well, it was only about a few $100s.
So why did you go in at 25 grand?
Because someone else might see it, like me, thinking it's something special and bid a high amount. So you've got to it's a bit like poker. You've just got to go in there really high.
And hope they just take that.
And hope they don't, and not as ballsy as you are.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
So anyway, put the bid in. I'm sitting there online watching eBay. It counts down, 1 minute, and you're like, oh. And then suddenly, it starts pinging, 1 minute. Oh, it's up to a few thousand. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. And then get down to 20 seconds. It's up to 5,000. I was like, oh no. And it gets down to that last 3 seconds, and suddenly, it blanks off. You can't see anything, and you've got to wait for it to refresh. $25,600 or whatever it was. Not your bid. Oh, did I die? I was, how on earth has someone outbid me on that? I mean, the bid before that was about 7,000 or 8,000. Someone else had gone higher than me. Yeah. Anyway, the owner, he had another vase that I actually bought for $1,000. So I paid him straight away for that. I said, right. I said, look, I started speaking to him. Back then, you could email them and message them. I was like, that vase I underbid at $25,000, right? I'm prepared to pay you now for that vase. If you have any trouble with the other buyer, for any reason, just cancel the sale and send me the invoice and I'll pay immediately. And he said, oh, look, I've got to let the buyer have a week or whatever it takes for him to, to pay. And, I was like, oh, that week was the longest week of my life. But then I get a message on the 7th day. He's like, look, I've got a message back from the buyer. He said, he's asking me to wait for a month for him to get the money together. Yeah. So if you're still willing to buy it, I'll cancel the sale and I'll issue you with an invoice. You pay it and it's yours. I was like, yeah. Sent the money to him. Right. About 2 weeks later, the vase arrives. When something comes in a box, it's the anticipation of
It's Christmas, right? Yeah.
Well, is it real?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can get it wrong.
Fair enough, I get that on the Zada, actually, to be fair. I brought a couple of trainers. Well, I got wrong sizes a couple of times, and I brought I got some Nikes that were definitely not Nikes. That's for sure. So I know where you're going. Yeah. It was about the same level.
Yeah. So I open the box up, and
you get chipped in the post.
Well, it happens. Yeah. Seriously, many, many times. Open the box up, and you can see straight away whether it's real or not. And I was like,
and Simon saying, "Oh my fucking god!" For those people who didn't know.
So anyway, picked it up and I was like, right, this is the bee's knees. So I was like, literally got on the phone, booked a flight to Hong Kong, rang my friend up at Christie's that I knew from, working in the museum and stuff. And I was like, I've got something really, really special for you. Went up and met him. He was like, wow, where did you get this from? And I told him the story, the same story as I've told you. He's like, right. He goes, well, look, let's stick it in at 3 to 5 million. Yeah, we'll just...
I'm sorry, 3 to 5 million US.
Hong Kong dollars,
right,
which is about $500,000 US.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time.
That's still a pretty penny profit.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
I'm sensing there's more coming.
Oh, this story gets really, really fun. So the sale was meant to be, this was 2010. So the sale was meant to be in November of that year. So this is August or something when I flew up, plenty of time. Gave me the contract and everything, it was all signed and sealed, yeah? Dreaming about yachts and all sorts of things.
No, not yachts, mate. No.
Stay away from yachts.
I want to get better at sailing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the dreaded phone call came in the end of September. Simon, it's Nick in Hong Kong. I said, oh, hi Nick, yeah, how are you? Yeah, we've got a bit of a problem. I was like, well, what, you haven't broke the vase, have you? He goes, well, not quite. He said, someone's had a look at it and they don't think it is what it is. I was like, rubbish. I said, we sat there, I've looked at it, you've looked. Yes, I agree with you, but someone's come in and they poo-pooed your vase. So we can't sell it. I was like, what? I said, I've got the, no, we're not going to be able to sell it. I was like, you're dreaming of all of these things, and then suddenly it's like, wow. 25 grand down the drain, and I've got a vase that they're telling me is a fake. How can I get it so wrong? I mean, I've been doing this thing for 30 years. How can I be wrong? Anyway, flew up to Hong Kong, got the vase. And then I rang an old friend up from being, in London and studying that was one of the top dealers in London, a guy called James. And he has a big gallery down in Mayfair. So I've dealt with him over the years with little objects. So I sent him pictures of this. I said, hey, can you help me out with this? He said, look, that's a cracking vase.
Not literally, I hope.
Yeah.
No, there's not a crack in the vase. It says a cracking one.
Good. Just checking.
So I flew out to London in, I think it was the November that year, and I had a meeting with him in his office, and he said, look, can't fault this. This is...
Why did the one in Hong Kong?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The story evolves, yeah. So I left it in there. He goes, well, look, what do you want for it? I was like, because I was feeling a bit down then. I wasn't as confident as I was. I was like,
10 million.
Yeah.
Cash.
I said, look, I want £1 million. Yeah. And he goes, all right. He says, I've got a client that would be interested. We've got to get one of the professors from the museum. I was like, great, I know them. Who? It's Jessica Rawlings. to come and have a look at it. She'll write a paper about it, and we'll see if we can get you a mill. Yeah. Anyway, a week later, 10 days, yeah, I get a phone call from James. Yeah, he's on the phone. He's like, look, I'm with the client now. He's offered $1 million US cash. Do you want it?
Yeah. A million's a million, right?
Go on then.
Yeah. Twist that arm. All right.
Yeah, all right. No, so I accepted. Yeah, that was the deal.
So that vase,
For
that
$25,000.
that terrible, awful picture,
Yeah.
turned out to be over $1 million US.
Yep.
And the guy that sold that had no idea how much
Not
it
a
was worth.
Scooby-Doo.
And you said you had another one that you bought.
Another one I bought at the same time for $1,000,
Yeah.
which I thought was good, but when I received it and I took it up to Hong Kong, they also said it wasn't good. And I subsequently kept that and didn't sell it.
Right. And have you still got that one?
No, I ended up giving it away.
Oops.
Yeah. But it's not, that one isn't a good one.
Right.
Yeah. But this one was a good one.
So, just out of interest, what was so good about it?
Well, this was an imperial vase from the Yongcheng Emperor. So he reigned China back in 1723 for 12 years until 1735. And he was the father of the eminent Emperor Qianlong. And his reign was such a short period. Anything with his, I can show you his seal mark. So it's got a Chinese inscription on the bottom. Yeah. So that basically says, the great Yongcheng Emperor of China.
That's what I thought it said.
Yeah, you can tell with the
Yeah.
little bits at the top.
Looks like a cheap tattoo from Patong. Probably says Coca-Cola or something.
Far out. That's mental.
Did you ask the dude to send these pictures to you?
No,
Or
they
these
were the ones
eBay?
on eBay. Yeah.
So you must not be the only. So you were just. You're right. So that other dealer that did the 25,600.
He just couldn't come up with the cash in time.
Yeah. Far out.
That's madness.
So I've got a Chinese scroll at the house. I'm going to bring to you to have a look at.
Please do. Yeah.
Don't look at me. I've
No,
got
no,
nothing.
no, sorry, no, my mum's got. We lived in Hong Kong for 12 years.
Well, I mean, that's the stuff where that's the place where all
my,
of this.
My dad, my stepdad, it was the 80s and the 90s and the height of sort of expat culture. And there was all these sort of things being, gifts being given around. So we've got these all sort of vases and sort of bits of.
Let me come and have a look.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
You might be sitting on $1 million vase.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
I got a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're unfortunately not quite
The
worth
scroll,
that much yet.
I took loads of pictures of the scroll because it's huge. It's meters long. It's like 6 meters long.
Scroll on.
Yeah. And sent it to a few auction houses in Hong Kong and Singapore. And I think they were offering about so you can probably get 3,000 to 5,000 for it at an auction, maybe.
Okay.
So
When was this? A long time ago?
No, this was a couple of years ago.
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, we've had it for 30 odd years.
Yeah. Well, it'd be a named artist. I mean, the contemporary art market in China is still booming.
Sweet.
Particularly scrolls. Yeah, I like a good scroll.
I'll go. I have to no idea where I put it now.
Do you still collect?
I do.
Scrolls, yes.
I still look. I mean, I'm always looking because you never know when that's going to happen again.
exactly, yeah.
And it has happened a few times. This isn't the first, and it won't be the last. I mean, the thing is, now it's a lot more difficult because the Chinese have become very, very good at mastering copying to the extent the market is flooded with so many good fakes that it makes your eyes go googly after a while because you're just looking at 1,000 objects and they're all fake, and you just, even though you've got that knowledge, sometimes it's a lot more difficult now to pick the really, really good ones. I still pick them, but not as often as I
But
used
also,
to.
it's the market that you're aiming for, because there's two sides to that. One is you're saturating the market with 1 million fakes and one really good one, and you're looking for that one really good one. At the same time, from a buyer perspective, the mass market,
It kills it.
well, it kills it, but also who cares about whether it's real or fake? They look identical.
Yeah.
No one's going to know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Only those people that are very particular about it being genuine.
Exactly, but that
and the
narrows
value
down-
that's associated
And for
to
you,
it.
if you bought that, to find that particular person, that becomes that much harder because it's
And once
everyone
again,
in
I'll
a
revert
haystack.
back to my go-to of Lazada. I've got a NBA basketball top, which I know is fake, but I'll wear it because it's cheap and it looks pretty similar. I'm very happy with that. I love counterfeit stuff.
So
Bring it on.
go on. So how did we get from
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones whips and hats and crashing boats and trashing boats and
Gun running
and
Scuba diving.
scuba diving and multi-billion-dollar artworks to a vegan restaurant in Phuket town.
I would say maybe
Which, but if I may say, is beautifully done out.
Thank you very much.
No, it's it really is very, very cool.
I guess since living here and doing the art, I've always been interested in food, and I've always had a restaurant.
This is stuff you couldn't sell, by the way.
Yeah, these are all the fakes.
Actually, I didn't realise that.
I'm going to take lots of pictures.
I've just turned to my right, and there is a what do you call that? A shelving unit. Looks like a nice stainless steel one, handmade with some glass, and loads of
Artifacts.
Objects of art.
Is anything up there
Priceless.
well, not priceless, but is there some expensive shit up there?
Is there anything up there that's worth a bob, and which one is it?
And then can you
And,
go
oh my
outside?
God,
Let's
what's
see-
that over there?
Let's see if you guys can. What would you pick out of all of those objects up
Oh,
there?
see, once again, this is a great game for the podcast. We're looking at some stuff. Okay, I do.
quite like the Jade Dragons, but I'm attracted to the Jade.
Yeah, I'm attracted to the Jade Dragons as well. Not so much the name Jade, but just the dragons.
So you think that's jade, yeah?
No, I
Shall we
just
see?
said it because Russell said it.
They're very heavy.
They're not heavy at all, are they? That's a plastic.
Plastic, is it? Yeah.
Okay, well, we're shit at this. Russell. We've just spotted a Jade Dragon, which is made of plastic, I'm guessing.
Yeah. No rattle inside.
No, I was going to say, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well. So that was the first job, was shit. Well
Yep.
done, Russ. There's a dude there with his dinky out, put his hands in the air. Very similar to my pose when I almost threw the log on the bull.
Yes.
The French bulldogs the other day.
The better.
Yeah.
Is that Adam, isn't it?
Is that who?
Adam.
Is it Adam?
I think so. He's got a fig leaf over his gonads.
Well, it doesn't make him Adam, does it?
I thought he did, didn't he?
So it's not that. I'm going to
Um,
go for either this blue vase up here or that blue one up there.
Well, that's because you've just looked at
Yeah.
Simon's blue one on his phone.
Well, both of those are fake.
Well done, Russell.
But if they were real, what would they be worth?
If that one was real, that's a copy of a Schwender vase from the 14th century. They just sold that one in Christie's in Hong Kong for about $10 million US.
There you go. Thank you
Those
very
are good
much.
eyes, yeah.
It's a cool looking
And that's a
vase.
copy of a Chenlong moon flask, which, if that was real, that would be in the region of about $1 million. Or
Right, so I've
thereabouts.
just spotted $21 million worth of kit. Over to you, Jay.
I like this cat.
Yeah, brilliant. It's an ancient Egyptian 5 dynasties cat
There
from
you
the
go.
tomb of Tutankhamun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Worth.
an absolute fortune.
There you go. See, job done. End of the podcast. Thank you very much. I'm amazing. I spotted the cat. I always knew I was good at spotting pussy. Vegan.
And they cost you a lot as well.
Yeah, it has. But I think it's cost both Simon and I some money.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Look, watching cats.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go down that path. Let's think positive. So,
So yeah, how do we get
restaurants,
to?
vegans.
So, okay, restaurants. So since I've been here, I've always had an interest in
Hunger.
food. Yeah. I first opened a restaurant around the corner, and it was called Juice, and we used to do fresh-
Juices.
Do you remember Juice? It was an internet
Juice,
cafe.
yeah. Internet cafe.
The internet-
Fuck
It was,
me.
you know, in the old days when,
Yeah.
when people used to use internet
Yeah.
cafes. So I opened this place over there. It was called Juice. So we used to do fresh smoothies, juices,
Yeah.
and really comfy armchairs with fast internet, with big screens.
Yeah, when you say fast internet, from
Well, it was about like
At the time, it
300
was
15 years
300
ago.
kilobytes
Yeah,
per second or something.
everyone going there logging on to Hotmail,
Yeah, Hotmail, yeah.
Dial up the connections.
exactly,
Yeah.
checking their friends reunited.
Those were the days. So that's where it started really, and then over the years just progressed and took over these two shops in 2004, 2005, and then this one was in 2009, and then we set up a couple of restaurants, and the last one being the Food Gallery, which I run with my cousin Jack, where we tried to do a kind of bistro style setting with kind of fancy European food. It was a bit quirky,
Okay.
maybe a little bit before its time. And we ran that for a couple of years, and it was a very expensive hobby, if you
Right.
see what I mean. So I decided to scale back a little bit, and then about 2 or 3 years ago, I was back in the UK, and a really good friend of mine that lived in Brighton made me sit down and watch a documentary.
Dominion.
No, it's called What the Health.
Oh yeah.
And if you've seen
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
you'll know. And then I went seriously from eating, I think at the time I was eating a wild boar pizza in his living room. That's what I was eating. I was gobbling away, and I started watching this documentary. And my mate warned me, he says, you'll watch this and it'll change your life. I was like, nah, what are you talking about? I started watching this documentary, and no shit, by the end of the thing, I was throwing the pizza in the bin. I was like, I can't eat meat anymore. I can't drink dairy. I can't eat cheese. That's it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to be a vegan. Literally there and then, I stopped. So I came back to Thailand, I told all my staff, I said, right, that's it. We're not going to do any more Western food again, like with meat or fish or anything. We're going to go vegan, yeah? And like, I think half my staff quit.
Yeah,
They were like,
how did that go? Yeah.
something wrong with you. So the first dish, I said to my chef, I said, right, I'm vegan, make me something. So he came with a bowl of lettuce leaves and tomatoes and cucumber. I was like, this is exactly what I need to change. I need to change the perception of vegan food, because this is what I think people are used to eating. It's like, you go into a restaurant, can I order vegan? They'll give you literally a bowl of lettuce leaves or salads. And I was like, this has got to change. So I spent 8 months, practicing at home, coming up with new ideas, new menus, being creative with my new array of ingredients, which was everything that didn't contain meat. So
the vegan table, so you got the outdoor bit,
yep,
the indoor bit,
yep.
showroom.
So showroom used to be a gallery. So basically I used to have all my objects down here as well. So since we opened up as a vegan, we got really busy and then we needed more space. So all the objects had to go. And then we made a new kitchen upstairs.
Oh, okay, so the kitchen's upstairs.
Whole upstairs is like a big prep kitchen. So we do all the preparation up there.
Okay.
All the baking, making the pies, burgers, sausages, everything. So.
And you've just started doing your own, what's the word I'm looking for? Produce as well.
Yep. We're manufacturing, distributing vegan products now all over the country. So we've got a range of sauces, pickles, mayos. We do all our frozen burgers, gluten-free pizza bases. We've got vegan pies. We've got everything. Yeah? And we've recently even got our own kombucha brewery.
Right.
Have you tried this, yeah?
No.
Not yet.
No, okay. Vegan, we've talked about vegan, and I'm totally on board with vegan. I'm totally cool with the vegan stuff. What I'm not on board with is kombucha. I just don't understand. Every man and his dog in the whole of Phuket all of a sudden is now making kombucha, and kombucha is this new thing. It's this new great thing that's. I thought green tea was a new great thing. I thought plastic was a really good thing years ago. What is it about kombucha, and why does every man and his dog and every expat mum who's got nothing better to do think that they can make kombucha?
Well, it's something you can make at home, so everybody can make it, and it doesn't take a lot of creativity. You just follow very simple steps.
It's fermented tea, is it not?
Basically, yeah.
Is it?
So you use 2 types of tea, green tea, black tea. You put some sugar in.
Why is it green and black? What's wrong with white tea? Racist? Well, it's true, though.
Good point, but I've never seen white tea.
God.
Where'd you get white tea
We're onto
from?
something here.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know.
Let's create that.
Yeah, that's right. No longer black and green tea. They've got the
They've had their
power.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder what white tea would look like.
White tea power.
I'm guessing
Not sure you can
slightly-
say that. Actually.
Slightly white, like
Yeah.
milk.
Don't know. You can't have milk either.
No.
You're screwed.
No,
really.
no.
So
Anyway,
fermented
kombucha.
tea.
Fermented tea is basically a combination of water, sugar, and 2 types of tea. Yeah, and you leave it to. We ferment ours for 2 weeks.
You're pickling without
Kind of.
pickling.
But there's one secret ingredient which you need, and that's called SCOBY.
Scooby?
SCOBY? SCOBY?
There's 2 podcasts in a row where and I have to say, he did this last week on Yvonne's podcast. You did your Scooby-Doo impression, and I listened back to it, and I went, such a really good Scooby-Doo impression. I was like, I should have phoned. I don't think I did. I was going to phone you up and say, actually, that's probably your best impression.
That's my only impression.
Oh, there you go. That's why. So you put some Scooby-Doo in it,
Put some Scooby-Doo in it.
and any flavours you want, because there's raspberries.
Well,
there's
yeah,
all
so the
sorts
Scooby-Doo basically turns it into kombucha.
Right.
So it's just a natural kombucha. So it's basically fermented tea, which has loads of probiotics in there, enzymes, active enzymes, and all the goodness that we, at the moment, don't really have in our gut anymore because we eat so much processed food and garbage that all of those natural enzymes that break down your food just get...
Is it very similar to eating the natural yogurt that does the same sort of thing?
Yeah,
but
basically.
As
a
a
drink.
plant-based person, you can't have the natural yogurt because that comes from...
Well, you can get it from coconut. You can create a coconut yogurt, which is the same as a dairy yogurt, that has exactly the same properties and you even pretty much tastes the same.
Really?
Yeah, with
I've
coconut
never
milk.
milked a coconut before.
You never milked a coconut?
Well, not, it hasn't got boobs. Then you grab the
You've really got to squeeze.
Yeah, you got to squeeze
You've
really hard.
really got to
Okay, so
squeeze.
you take the green coconut, because where we grew up, Simon, when, at our age... in
Well,
fact,
coconut
she's
shy is
younger.
the hairy brown
yeah,
ones.
You can't do the hairy brown
No,
one,
because
you?
you've got to use the fresh young ones.
Very
prefer
careful
young
where we go
ones.
with this.
Should we talk about what we look for in a lady? Russ and I had a conversation on the way to your place. What's the first thing we look for in a lady?
Pulse.
That was Russell's answer. Mine was slightly, well, not slightly.
Lack of testicles.
Was a lot more disturbing, and we won't go down that path. Okay, so you do your own kombucha, which I'm noticing you're doing in reused and sterilised soda bottles.
Yeah, so we recycle all of our bottles. So if you buy your kombucha from us, we will come back and pick up your used bottles and we will recycle them. So there's no waste, or we limit the amount of
And
waste that...
Although I have a
Your
hatred,
kombucha bottles. I like
although
it.
I have a hatred for kombucha, I do like the fact you're selling it in small bottles, because every time I see it, people have just got like this massive bottle of kombucha on their desk.
Yeah, so our bottles are 300 ml, 330 ml each, yeah. But you can buy the big litre bottles if you want, if you drink a lot of the stuff. But the little bottles are easier because you can take them out with you.
I just dilute it in water and that's...
So you actually drink kombucha
Yeah,
as
I
well?
do actually,
See,
yeah.
we've got a fellow
There's
kombucha
a lot of
drinker.
stuff that he does, which I think is bollocks as well, though, to be fair.
To be fair, he's got
Yeah.
a point there, yeah.
We
I
did
prefer
try
the
it.
fruit ones.
Yeah, because we had old puppies, Christina
yes.
Puppies, Wildly. She gave us some kombucha to try. I didn't mind, it was alright, but it just tasted like flat.
Yeah, I mean, so she gave us shots of the different flavours.
Right.
The cinnamon one was good because it reminded me of Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the aniseed one was fucking horrible, but I hate aniseed anyway. And I've got a mango one, a passion fruit one, I've had a strawberry one, and I like fruits and I like the sweet taste. So, I mean, and what's the one thing we're supposed to be drinking to be healthy? Water.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
says you've got to drink 3 liters of water a day. Who the fuck is going to do that? No one.
No.
But if you put something in it to taste
Exactly,
it,
to make
you'll
it
do
taste
more, and
nice.
that's all I do it for.
What kind of have orange squash?
Sugar.
It's good for you. Gives you energy.
No.
Listen,
Processed
when we were all growing up, orange squash was fine, and now you sit
Yeah, look,
here.
look how we turned out.
Remember Kiora?
Oh, I love Kiora. Kiora's lovely. Umbongo?
Yeah.
That wasn't. There was,
Fine line.
yeah.
Just going back to this place, just quickly. So we've got your indoors, your downstairs indoor restaurant.
We've got outside and we've got a kitchen outside as well where we do all
Where are
the
the,
prep
where are the
work.
restrooms?
Restrooms are upstairs.
Good to know. Be back.
Yeah, go and have a look. It's an interesting iconography above the door.
Have you just done that on the podcast?
Yes. It's never been done before.
He's walking off. So what does Simon and I do? Just jibber jabber for a little. I get nervous when it's just two of us. Russell, don't leave me here with him. Right, well he's gone now, so you can tell me exactly what was he like when, because you knew him when he was living in Phuket town.
Yeah, I mean, Russell. We used to hang out. We used to do some. Russell used to do these events down at the Hilton Hotel. These kind of like team building exercises. Did he ever tell you about this?
No.
So I used to go along to some of them. So he used to basically, I don't know where he'd bring people in from Malaysia or Singapore, but he used to do these events down at the Hilton. Ask him about it. This is going back a
I'm
long
just
time
thinking,
ago.
like, he's Mr. Motivator
Yeah.
on the stage. Is it like what?
It's not,
Seriously?
you didn't know about that?
No,
Yeah,
is
ask
it
him
like
about
court-
it. This is going back about quite a long time, maybe 15 years
What would
ago.
you get everyone to jump up and to get
Yeah, you
warmed
know,
up and stuff?
you know, like power building. You know, so you get these companies from Singapore
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
want to increase that kind of dynamics between their staff. So Russell would arrange these events down at the Hilton Hotel. Ask him about it when he comes down. Yeah. So I used to go along to some of them before, a long time ago.
Is this when he had ginger hair?
Yeah.
Or bleached blonde hair as well at the time?
Yeah, I think it was ginger, or maybe a bit of blonde in there. It's got to be about 15 years ago. Long time.
Russell's back. Russell, did you ever do any corporate team building stuff down at the Hilton, down south?
Loads.
With your ginger hair? What were you? What kind of thing were you doing? Were you like Mr. Motivator, getting people up and running and clapping and cheering and stuff?
That was back in when I ran the management training company.
When what?
I ran a management training company. Before I ran dog training,
Oh.
I ran people training.
You're a better dog trainer than you are a people trainer, aren't you?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Simon.
How did that come up?
Oh, he was just asking me how I knew you, and I was just
I just
explaining.
mentioned to Simon about our conversation that we had on the way here.
All right.
I didn't do it live on it. Oh no, I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Excellent.
You
Good
said
to
I
know.
could.
No, fair enough.
I didn't do it as much as I should have
Was that
done.
at the Hilton?
Yeah, at the Arcadia.
And I knew her as well, which I didn't know.
I might have been located. Yeah.
Thinking. Russell's thinking now.
No, I was actually.
Fucking nervous thinking. We have a new question that we've decided to, and you're our first person we're asking this to.
Oh, yes.
So, in any particular field, sport, cookery, or anything, we would like to know who you think is the greatest of all time.
In any field?
Do you pick a field? You pick whatever you want. It doesn't
I'm
have to
going to suggest don't go with sailing.
No, because that wouldn't get me anywhere. Field. Actor.
Okay.
All right. Actor Johnny Depp.
You think he is the greatest actor of all time?
I think so, yeah. I think he's really diverse. I think his characters he portrays are so wild and wacky. And he's yeah.
It's not a bad shout. When you actually think deeply into it,
Yeah.
his different characters he's played.
You know, he's gone from
good.
gangster to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
Which
to...
was awesome.
No,
You know,
Why? You didn't like that?
I did. It's like any. I guess it's like there's very few films that when you watch a remake that you think, yeah, that's a better version.
We're not talking about if it was a better version. We're talking about his portrayal of Charlie, which I thought was very good. He took it to a different extreme.
Nah, possibly.
Willy Wonka wasn't Charlie. Charlie's the
Sorry,
little kid.
yeah, Willy
well,
Wonka.
yeah. No, I just.
If you played Charlie, boy, that would be really well. Oopsie. Anyway, Johnny Depp, it's a good one. Well, we'll take Johnny Depp.
Okay, I'll go with Johnny Depp.
We'll Johnny Depp. Russell, your question.
Well, I think actually there's a few things that you've done that I want to put on my list now, actually. But of all the things...
Hold on, what things do you want to put that Simon's done on your bucket list?
Well, I'm thinking, trashing boats, gun running.
I've done trashing boats, I've never done gun running.
There you go, so we can put that on our list.
Okay.
So what sort of things have you got on your bucket list?
Good question.
I know, that's why I asked it.
So I've never really had a bucket list. I've lived quite a exciting,
Fuck yes.
full up life already. So there are things I haven't done that I'd like to do. I'd like to climb Mount Everest, at least have an attempt. That's certainly up there. Now
It is up there, for sure.
It is up there, yeah,
Really
no,
up there.
definitely. That's something I'd love to do. I'd like to sail across the Pacific.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, no,
mate.
no. Seriously,
No, trust us. We're telling
To
you.
anyone that's listening to this podcast,
No.
If Simon approached you and wanted to get on your boat, say no.
Even if you're going to have a day trip to Pangnard, don't
No,
take
don't
Simon with you.
do it.
Right? He's not coming.
No, I would seriously.
No,
you
would.
would.
I do. That's definitely something I will attempt.
Watch
Whether
Titanic
I'll survive,
first.
whether I'll survive or not, that's another question. Dive with sharks. That's something I've never done. I'd love to get in a shark tank down in South Africa and
Yeah, it's on
that
your
was-
plunge in
that's on my
there.
list
That's
as well.
certainly something I'd like to do. What else? Climb Kilimanjaro, that big mountain in
So,
Africa.
I remember talking to M. AJ. I like the idea of climbing a mountain as well. Kilimanjaro is quite bland. I mean, it's a 5 to 7 day trek for the acclimatization and all that, but it's just quite bland. Everest has got all the appeal of it, but it's well, obviously not now, but it's just swamped with. There's just lines of people. The beauty is kind of gone from it. It's just this endless slog following people after people. That's the bit that kind of. Well, there's a few bits that
Well
put me
done
off, but
for
that's-
breaking Simon's dreams, Russell.
No,
Well,
absolutely, that's what I'm here to do.
I think now it might be a bit quieter, don't you think?
Well, now it probably will be. Yeah.
You could go up there and there'd be no one there. Yeah,
There'll
you'd
be
be
a
on
few
your
dead
own.
people up there.
Yeah.
That's me doing a Frozen impression.
All right,
by the way,
okay.
for anyone who's
Yeah, it's
watching.
like his guns impression.
My Frozen impression was much better than his Guns impression. Simon,
Yes.
go on, you had one more.
No,
I saw
I'm
you
just
pointed
gonna
at.
say, how long have you had Vegan Table?
We've been open just over 2 years now.
Okay, and what's your sort of plans sort of moving forward? And I asked that knowing that you've recently, if I understand correctly, won some awards.
We have, yeah.
I just want to say, that's brilliant, Russell. That's the way you.
This is why I'm here.
Oh, I would have gone. I'd have left. I'd have hung up by now.
Yeah, so there was this event in Bangkok called the Plant-Based Awards 2020, and it was held at Sansiri Park off Sukhumvit. And basically it was a vote-based decision. So basically people could go online and they could choose which was the best restaurant, best burger, best plant-based dish, etc., etc. And we won the best plant-based restaurant in Phuket. We won the best burger, and we won the best Thai dish.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They have a category saying best
Best burger
in Phuket or just best burger
But plant
in
based.
Thailand.
Plant-based.
Plant-based.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of copyright going on
Is that
here.
litigation?
There might be a little fight.
So anyway, we won that. So we got 3 awards. So I'm just waiting for my trophies to be sent down.
Do they have a little a little dinner or a gala dinner or anything, or was it just a?
It was a weekend event. So they basically had a big stage with like a panel of judges and entertainers and speakers that were coming discussing everything about plant-based and vegan
So
food.
slightly
invite
more.
us for MCs?
Well, it's slightly better than Phuket's Best Burger, which is happening on the 14th of November, which Simon will be at. With
I
the
will
vegan
be out
table.
with our winning burger.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so you can come down and try and
So
vote for us.
you've
as-
won an award, and now you're going for the big one.
I'm going for the big one,
Now you're going
Phuket's
for the
Best
big one.
Burger. Because last time we only came second.
Right.
Yeah, so I've got to make sure that we're first.
Be interesting this time because I think this time I'm going to go public vote as well, and I think
I think that definitely
that'll
will
make
win.
a huge
Definitely
difference.
will
That's
win.
going to sway
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I think you're right. I think that'll make a big difference. I think the vegan and the vegetarian ones will go up the rankings this year.
Yeah. Have I got any competitors this year, Dan?
Yeah, there's a couple there's Sala that's entering the vegan and a meat one. A couple of the guys, the hotels are doing vegans and or
Yeah.
vegetarian and meats.
It's been
Okay.
really interesting the last few years seeing the advancements and developments with vegan food. And I don't mean like just specifically burgers, but food in general. So, because you're right, I mean, going back to what you were saying before, you think vegan, so we'll have some lettuce, maybe a bit of tomato, right? So, but the quality
Yeah, I mean,
of
it's
food that's
you
available.
basically got an open palette
Yeah.
of creativity. So it's like with Italian food, you've got to follow a certain regimen of like
Yeah.
ingredients or methods. Yeah. With vegan food, you can recreate every single type of food that's available and make it your own. Yeah, your own recipe, your own imagination, can get the best of itself. So definitely, the future is vegan. Join the revolution.
Join the revolution.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my avocado rings sat here with our garlic mayo, which we're going to tuck into momentarily. So there we go. We're starting.
They look great, don't they?
They do, actually,
They're
yeah.
big rings.
Yeah, that's a big ring. Thank you very much.
On that note, Simon, Vegan Table. Join the revolution. Come and try the Vegan Table. What's the road called it's on?
Rasada Road. It's the main road in Phuket town.
It's
where all the banks
Rasada
are.
Road. It's one of the main roads in Phuket town. There are many others. Let's not be roadist. Make sure you come along and check it out. You will be at the burger competition on the 14th
I will
of
be, yeah.
November,
Excellent.
which is at Blue Tree Phuket. But, I've eaten here with Simon, and I've actually enjoyed a lot of other food, and I've bought mayonnaise and stuff. So it's I practice what I preach.
Jason was in here the other day.
Jason,
Wilder.
we don't talk about Jason Wilder.
Do you know? Is he an enemy now?
No, he's not. I love him
he's
to
a
death.
legend.
We need to get him on the podcast,
We
actually.
should actually.
It's just finding the time when he's not drunk,
Yeah.
which is the difficult thing.
I think I found him the other night. He wasn't drunk. He came in at a wrap.
Hungover?
Yeah, he looked a bit
There you go.
wired, but
Bless him. Simon, thank you very much for your time.
Yep,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for coming,
Cheers.
guys. Yeah,
See you, mate.
take
Thanks,
care.
Russell.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the outro.
Hello, Jay.
Hi, Russell. How are you?
I'm all right, mate.
How's your week been here at wrong podcast?
Wrong pod.
That was Simon Thomas from The Vegan Table.
Really nice place. Enjoyed
Nice
that.
place, and what a cool story he's got.
Yeah. I mean, I would put that in my top 4, I reckon, of the stories that we've had on this podcast. That was pretty.
I really want to ask you what your top 4 are, but I'm not. We'll save that for another time. I liked him because not only is he the modern day Indiana Jones, I really still think he wants to be Indiana
Well,
Jones,
who doesn't?
and I still think he has an itching for it because you could see he talked about that more than he talked about anything else.
True. That's the point. I might watch Last Crusade, actually, Indiana Jones.
He wasn't in it.
No, he wasn't, but Sean Connery was. as we just
Oh,
discussed.
that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry, we're recording this on the Monday. We recorded Simon on the Friday. We're now at Chateau de Canine, the old school recording studio. It might sound a bit echoey because it's a bit echoey in here.
I'm having a cleaning day.
But yeah, it's been.
Want to make it, wait for it,
Go on.
squeaky clean.
Nice. It's been a weekend of deaths, unfortunately, with Sean Connery and Nobby Stiles.
Well, that's a cheery thought for you.
Yeah. Anyway, happy days.
Happy days.
Daily Shark and
Woo.
Friends podcast.
2020, the
Keeping
year that
it-
keeps on
Keeping
giving.
it upbeat. No, Simon Thomas is amazing. If you have never tried vegan food, then I recommend go there. Both Russ and I have eaten there. I've eaten there on separate occasions as well as the Friday one where we did eat. But it is pretty cool, and he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Simon. And the place is very good. And the thing with the whole vegan movement is it's slowly gathering pace and catching on, and more people are sort of going down that particular path. And I think for those that are not like us, I would argue, that are not on that particular bandwagon, the and would normally shy away from going to a vegan place because it was just, and we discussed this in the pod, it's just lettuce and a slice of tomato.
Don't like tomatoes.
So you're just down to the lettuce.
I like lettuce.
But some of the vegan restaurants that are coming up now, and Vegan Table being one of them, that do it really, really well, like really genuinely tasty food. You're not concerned about whether it's got chicken, pork, or salads or whatever, but just the fact that it's a really good food.
No, I
and
think,
it tastes
and
nice.
that's the case.
That's the thing, isn't it?
No, I think you're right, and I don't think we should call it. It's not just it's a restaurant that serves really good food.
Yeah, and that's actually a better way.
It's just called the Vegan Table.
Yeah.
The revolution has begun there. No, I really like it. And they're going to be at the burger competition on the 14th of November at Blue Tree in Chantilly. So make sure you go and check out their burgers. They came second last time.
They're my tip for the title this year.
I'm not sure they'll win the big title.
No, I reckon they will.
No, they won't. I'm on board the old vegan thing, but there's a limit. Yeah. There's a limit to where it comes in.
But they might not win that one. But again, as you were saying, they've won awards already for their food.
Well, no, that's true. And we do have 2 awards. We have the meat version of the award, and we do have the vegan-vegetarian version. So I definitely think they're in the running. It'd be interesting to see how they get on. Yes. No, I like Simon. Go and check him out. Make sure you mention Jay Leshark and Friends podcast when you're there. You won't get anything, but he might give you a free shot of kombucha if you like fermented tea.
Which I do.
I know, you're drinking it now, aren't you?
You're
drinking a nice...
It's a glass of water with a splash of kombucha in it.
And I'm drinking a Pepsi Max.
And that's the difference between you and I.
Yes.
Sweet.
Right. Guess what we got coming up?
We have the launch day tomorrow of this podcast, which will be yesterday.
Well, that'd be silly because people are listening to it now if they listen to it on the day. No, we got
Barkcast comes out on Thursday.
Barkcast on Thursday. Russell's watch is ringing. Must be hug time.
No, it means that no, it doesn't matter.
No, okay. And we've got Eka Sounds, the amazing singer Eka, very gorgeous Eka. She will be with us next week.
This week?
No, next week, because Russell, you're not very good at this, are you? This is coming out today, which is Tuesday, although we're recording this on Monday. So all right, okay. Look, I'm in Podland, all right?
So this week will be Friday, and we're interviewing...
No, I know, but it won't come out till next week, which is Tuesday. People don't need to listen to this silly conversation.
But they enjoy this part of the conversation.
I don't know if they do.
I'm very confused.
Make sure you listen to Barkcast. That comes out on Thursdays. It is your day off. Barkcast is an amazing podcast all about dogs. If you've got a dog or thinking about getting a dog, then make sure you check out Barkcast. If you need your dog trained or you need somewhere for your dog to stay for short term or long term, make sure you go to Caninepointacademy and check them out. Go to their beach club. I was there yesterday with my doggy and a few other doggies, and it was fun. And the kids,
kids enjoyed it.
I donated Russell 8 sticks.
A box of sticks.
It was actually a bucket of sticks. Yeah. Your mum gave the bucket, the resort assistant, and I got the 8 sticks and put them in her bucket.
A few tennis balls donated the other day as well.
Yep, and we put them all together. So if you've got anything to donate that dogs like to run and catch, then Russell will take it. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter. Or you can just go to...
PhuketPodcast.com, which is probably where I would suggest you go.
I would.
Cool.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Russell.
Buddy. Have a great week.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh no, you've chewed my favourite shoes.
Get off the bed. Get out.
Patch, get out the bin now.
Oh my God. What have you done?
Does this sound familiar to you? Well, panic not. Help is very much at hand here at Canine Point. Whether you just want a bit more obedience from your dog or need some help with some issues, get in touch at caninepointacademy.com.
Time. No beginning, no end. An infinite procession that humbles our mortality. But there are moments in life that transcend our fate. Burgers, crafted by gods among men. These are the burgers that echo through the ages. Like the mythical gods of ancient Greece, they may thrill us, inspire us, at times make us angry, but they will never let us forget them. Saturday the 14th of November is their night, their battle, their moment of ultimate sacrifice. Welcome to Phuket's best burger. Greatness, redemption, glory.